Hello there, Tina. Are you there? I just had to talk with you about something rather quickly if you had the time. You do know about the family vacation that we're all going to be going on soon, don't you? I was just curious if you were actually thinking that you were going to be coming along with us. I guess what I'm really trying to ask is that you don't really think that you're a part of this family, do you? Because if you do, then I really just think that you need to wake up and face the real world. You are a nobody to us. You're nothing. And you are certainly not, nor will you ever be a member of this family.
Hello, Rachel. It's just so lovely to hear from you. Thank you so much for double-checking my schedule. Yes, I was, in fact, thinking of going on the trip, if you must know. After all, you were all going to go in our car, isn't that right?
Yes, we were going to use your car, but I don't see why you think that that gives you a right to come along with us. I mean, do you really need to tag along?
Well, it's been a long, long time since my husband and I have gotten to take a trip. But I remember that Dan mentioned wanting to stop at a nice brewery that was going to be on the way and asked if I wouldn't mind driving so he could drink a little. So actually, another reason why I was going along is to make sure that everyone can have safe, responsible fun. You actually have nothing to worry about, you see. I'll be the one driving.
Oh, please. What kind of stupid little excuse is that? Is that really the best you can come up with? You think you deserve to go with us just because you can drive? Anybody can drive, you know?
Sorry, did you even read the other messages I sent? Or did you just zero in on the bit that you didn't want to hear?
Don't you get smart with me, young lady. I just want you to realize that you are not a part of our family and you never ever will be. So quit trying to force your way into this vacation when you don't even belong. Don't you understand how rude you're being?
I really don't think that I'm being rude at all. If anything, you're the one trying to put me down and make me feel bad. But I'm afraid if you're not really going to change your mind about me at all, then all I can ask that you do is just have the patience to see the trip through to the very end. After all, it isn't like we all go on trips all the time together or something.
Well, of course we don't all take trips together more often. Who in their right mind would want to go anywhere with you, huh?
I fully understand what you're saying right now, Rachel. I have my own thoughts on the matter as well. But I don't think that we should be having this conversation via text. Maybe we could meet in person and talk? Because otherwise, I'm going to pick you all up in the car tomorrow at the time we all agreed on.
I just don't get what my little Dan was thinking. I mean, what drove him to marry a no-good, nasty woman like yourself? Not only is your personality awful, but you're older than him as well. I mean, you must have so much patience in dealing with you. You know, he used to date gorgeous women who were younger than him and knew how to show respect to their mother-in-law. Maybe if he had married one of them instead of you, then I would finally have a grandchild by now.
Sorry, are you talking about the ex-girlfriend that Dan had who stole all of his money and then ran away?
I don't really know all the details of why they broke up, so don't go quizzing me about my own son's love life. All I'm saying is that my son would be much, much, much better off with a woman who was younger than him.
If all that matters is age, then I guess that means I'm better for Dan than you are, isn't that right? Or am I misunderstanding the point that you're trying to make here?
Of course, that wasn't what I was trying to say, and you know that. Ugh. You really can be such a frustrating person to deal with, do you know that? I knew that I should have never ever allowed my son to marry someone like you.
Oh, I know exactly what you meant, but would you like to know how? It's because you've complained about my age to me over and over again. I mean, aren't you bored of having this same conversation all the time? I don't even need to guess at what you might say next, because we've already done this several times.
And I'll say it as many times as I need to for you to get it through your head that you were too old for my son and that you were never going to be a part of this family. If you don't want to hear the truth about the matter, then you can just pack up your bags and leave. Otherwise, I'm going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you're at the very end.
The very end? What are you talking about now? The very end of what?
The very end of your wits, of course. And then you and Dan will finally get a divorce and I can start working on trying to set this family straight again. That's all I really want out of this.
So basically you're telling me that your whole purpose with treating me this poorly is just to get me to divorce Dan? Well, I don't know how many times we're going to have this conversation in that case. But if you are going to be saying the same things over and over again, then so will I. And I am telling you for the I don't even know how many time that Dan and I aren't getting a divorce, okay? So don't bother waiting, don't hold your breath, and don't think that any kind of miracle is going to happen for you.
Well, we'll just see about that, won't we? I wouldn't be so confident if I were you.
Well, I don't need confidence when I know that Dan and I have no intention of splitting up ever. I just know it won't happen. Anyways, if this is all that you're going to be saying to me now, I think I've had my fill and I'll be taking my leave now. I'll see you tomorrow when I go to pick you up with Dan. Hey, you were standing right behind me, weren't you? I know that it was you behind me in line. You pushed me into the bathroom and were holding the door closed so that I couldn't get out?
What on earth are you talking about? I didn't do anything, dear. But I guess it was bad fortune that someone just let that big, heavy crate slide right in front of the bathroom door, trapping you in there. But at least you won't have to worry about needing to use the toilet since you're going to be stuck there for a long, long time.
What is the matter with you, Rachel? Is this supposed to be some kind of prank or something? Because it isn't funny. What are you trying to pull here?
Well, isn't it obvious? I was just locking you in the bathroom, that's all. I sure hope someone comes by soon to let you out of there, though.
I don't get it. Why would you do this to me? I mean, Dan and I go to pick you up in the morning so that we can all enjoy going on a little vacation together, and you lock me in the bathroom? Are you really just going to try and keep me trapped here while you just drive away? Do you really think that you're going to get away with this? You've gone way too far right now.
I think the only person that was taking things too far was you. I told you that you were not welcome to come on this family vacation of ours, and you just didn't listen. But now at least we'll finally be able to enjoy ourselves in peace, without you.
Well, I'm so happy that you're pleased with yourself right now. But just how long do you think that happiness is going to last? Hold on a second. Why can't I get a hold of Dan? Why won't he pick up my calls?
Well, it's because I told him that I'd hold on to his phone for him, of course. And then I'm going to tell him that you told me that you had an emergency come up. And I'll tell Dan all about how you had to leave early and called a taxi to come and pick you up. And then we can get on with our vacation and you can have fun waiting for someone to rescue you from the toilet.
Are you kidding me? Please tell me that you're not serious about that. Have you guys already left? Did you really just abandon me here?
That's right. We're on the road far, far away from you now. So your fate is out of our hands now. I just hope that someone comes along soon to let you out. Otherwise, you could be in there all night.
So you're sure that it's a good idea to just leave me here then? Is that really what you want to do?
Of course, that's what I want to do. What kind of question even is that? I thought I made it clear that I didn't want you coming on this trip at all.
All right, then fine. Have it your way. But just don't say that I didn't warn you. I hope you both get where you need to be safely.
Dana, are you there? I really have something that I need to talk to you about right now. Where are you? Please tell me.
Let me guess. Things went exactly as I thought they would for you. I heard all about how maybe an hour after you left me, you got on the freeway and ended up in a huge accident. I just hope this serves to teach you a lesson about what you did.
But where is everyone right now? Where are you? Where's Dan? Is Dan okay?
Dan is fine, actually. You were the one who sustained the worst of the injuries. But honestly, just what were you thinking? I mean, you realized that there wasn't anybody else to drive, right? I was coming along because I would have been the only other person capable of driving. But then you just had to go and pull your little prank and put our family in danger in the process. Tell me though, was it worth it?
You have no idea what you're talking about at all. I was in the car. I know how to drive.
Oh, really? Do you? Because if you did know how to drive, then just how did you all end up in that accident then, huh? I mean, you're lucky that you got away with just having your hip broken. You could have lost your life. Don't you realize that? You were acting like a complete idiot, and lo and behold, something bad happened to you.
What did you just call me? How dare you say that to me when I'm the one who got in an accident? I mean, sure, it had been maybe a decade since I last ever drove, but still, a car is a car and I know how to drive. I just didn't think that there'd be so many other cars. And I forgot how fast you have to go on the highway.
So basically, you didn't know how to drive, is what you're saying then. In fact, is your driver's license even still valid? Or were you just driving around with an expired license? You know that means you could be arrested for what you did, don't you?
Wait, what? You think that I'm going to be arrested?
I mean, you were the one who was behind the wheel of the car. Who else would be liable? Dan and your husband were drinking, so they weren't going to drive, and the only sober person there was you. But you clearly don't know how to drive anymore, and you don't even have a valid license. You were driving, you caused the accident, it's your fault.
But that isn't fair. It's not like I forgot how to drive. But besides, it's not my fault that I can't get a new driver's license. It's those darn people at the DMV who refuse to renew it for me.
That's right, I had almost forgotten about that. I remember you mentioned that before Dan and I were even married. You mentioned how you told me that you would never be able to renew your license again. Not only did they think you were getting too old, but you had too many strikes on your last one.
But it isn't fair. They sent me to their stupid little driving school. I took all their classes and they still had the nerve to not give me a new one. Surely you must agree that this is horrible, right? I mean, who are they to tell me that I can't drive when I know that I can drive perfectly well? Am I really going to be arrested just for a little fender bender?
Fender bender? Rachel, you are literally in the hospital and unable to move because of the accident that you caused. Not only that, but you could have seriously injured your son and husband. How can you be so focused on yourself when all that might have happened?
Well, I guess that does make some sense when you put it that way.
And that's why I was telling you that I needed to be there to drive. But you had to act completely delusional. You locked me in the bathroom and then just drove off without me.
Please, Tina, there's no need for you to take this kind of tone with me. Don't you think I've already been through enough with all of this? You must know that I never ever wanted any of this to happen, right?
I don't care what your intentions were. Who even gets in a car thinking that they intend to cause a crash anyways? I'm not blaming your intentions. I am blaming the thinking that led up to it. You acted completely irrationally and got your family into a car accident. And that's not saying anything at all about how you locked me in a public bathroom and then just abandoned me.
But I just wanted to take a vacation with my family. Is that really so bad?
But you didn't even get to have that vacation. You all didn't even make it to the destination we were all supposed to be at by now. Why couldn't you have just waited until we all got there before you started trying to bully me? I understand that you didn't want to be around me and that you were worried that I was only going to annoy you, but surely being annoyed has got to be better than being injured. And to think that this is going to be the last real memory we have together before Dan and I cut you out of our lives entirely.
Wait a second, what are you talking about? Why would you and Dan cut me out of your lives?
I've already talked to Dan about it, Rachel. I told him all about the horrible things that you say to me. And now, with all that's happened for the vacation, he just can't tolerate you any longer. In fact, he was already going to talk about this with you before we even went on the trip, if you must know.
Hold on a second. Now that you mention it, Dan did say that he had something important he wanted to talk to me about. You're telling me that this is that. He wanted to tell me that he didn't want me around anymore?
That's right. And there's one more thing that you should know, Rachel. I'm pregnant.
Wait, what? You've got to be kidding me. Why am I just hearing about this now?
You're only hearing about it now because I know that letting you know any sooner wouldn't have been good for me or the baby. I mean, do you have any idea just how stressful it already is talking to you like this? I knew that if I told you I was pregnant, you would be trying to control my life. I talked to Dan about this and told him that I don't know how I was supposed to go through with this if you were going to be constantly breathing down my neck about every little thing. So we talked and said that the best thing to do would be to put physical distance between us all. So we're going to be moving away.
But this is all so much. I can't handle all of this news at once. How is this happening?
It's happening because we didn't want you to know a word of it, but now that we're about to cut you out of our lives anyways, it doesn't really matter. That, and you never even gave me a chance to speak about my life to you. You were always just interested in putting me down. But now you've gone and made a mistake that can't be undone. And in doing so, you've confirmed every fear about you that I've had. And you've shown your son and husband that you're nothing but a mean bully who doesn't deserve the loving family she has.
But wait, Tina, please. If you're pregnant, then this changes everything. I mean, can't we just pretend like nothing ever happened? We can just put all this behind us, can't we? Why didn't you ever tell me about this?
I literally just explained to you why I didn't tell you. Did you even read the messages that I was sending you? I told you that you were just going to try and interfere with our lives even more if you know that I was pregnant. Dan and I were going to use this as the chance to cut you out of our lives. That's why you didn't know about it until now.
But then you mean you're not even going to let me meet my own grandchild?
Well, it's going to be hard for you to meet them anyway, as if you're behind bars for what you've done.
Please don't say things like that, huh? You really can't think that they would throw an old lady like me in jail.
I'm sorry, but the law is the law. Do you really think that you're above just because of your age? Either way, you're not going to be our problem anymore. We want nothing to do with you ever again, and we are going to be cutting you out of our lives. Whether or not you get arrested after this, it really makes no difference to me at all.
Just wait, Tina. You can't be serious about this, right? I mean, you're really just going to abandon me during my time of need like this? Please, I had no idea that you were pregnant. That really would have changed everything. I promise that I'll change. I'll help you raise them well. You have to believe me.
We do not want you to have anything to do with our child at all, Rachel. That's the whole reason we're going to be moving as far away from you as we can. Just stay out of our lives and don't come looking for us. Do you understand?
So then you're really serious about all this? But I never even gave Dan permission to do this. You can't just leave me!
I'm afraid that we've already made up our minds and we're going to be moving out. That is final. Just remember that you're the one that's going to have to explain all this to your husband. You're going to have to tell him that you were so horrible to me that you pushed me and your son away to the point that we never want to see you again. In the end, Dan and I moved away. A few months later, we heard through the grapevine that Rachel was discharged and free to go back home, but that her husband was waiting for her there with divorce papers. She was in the hospital for so long recovering that you would have thought she learned some kind of lesson, but apparently it wasn't enough for her husband. Thankfully for her, the other driver in the crash was kind enough to not press any charges on Rachel, but she was still left all alone, without her husband, son, or grandchild. I have no idea how she's getting along now. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.
Whoa, Yolanda, what's your deal? Do you seriously just have no shame or something? I honestly want you to know, how can you live with yourself the way that you are? It is honestly just shocking to me and I don't understand it at all. Sorry, Brittany, but what exactly are you talking about? What exactly are you saying that I should be ashamed of? I'm not sure that I'm really following what you're trying to get at it. I mean, your whole existence, that's what you should be embarrassed about. Do you really not see what I'm talking about at all? Let's look at some face. You're a housewife who lives with people she's not related to and just leeches off their goodwill. How does it feel to have that to be your life? Aren't you ashamed of yourself? I really don't think that I could ever live with myself if that was my life. I mean, what kind of person would ever think that it's okay to live the way that you are? It really is just said, you know? Brittany, what in the world are you talking about? I seriously don't understand where you're getting off. First of all, I'm not just a housewife as you said. I'm literally staying at home to take care of your mother who needs a live-in nurse. And the only reason that I'm doing this is because my husband, your brother, asked me to quit my job and do this. So do you still think that I should be embarrassed about what I do for a living? Oh, please, enough with those pathetic excuses. I don't even want to hear them from you. You really think that you can be a good person if you don't even have a job? All you do is laze around someone else's house while you use up all of your money? Even just thinking about the way you abuse my family like that just makes me sick. Abuse your family? Did you seriously just say that? How on earth am I being abusive at all? You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm talking about financial abuse. I know that you're just using up all my parents' money with the way that you're living, and you really thought that no one would notice? Or maybe you just thought that no one would care, but everyone knows that all you are is a parasite. It sounds to me like you're just deciding for yourself what I am and what I'm not. But I can assure you that I'm hardly a housewife, and if you think that my life is so easy, then why don't you try living here and taking care of your mom full-time? And then I can go out and get a job, and I promise you that I won't ever call you the kinds of things that you call me. You wish it was that simple as trading places. But unlike you, I'm someone with actual skills, and I have better things to do than waste my time at home. Skills? You really think that I'm doing this because I can't find a job or something? You seriously need to grow up if you think that's the case. I literally quit my career to move in and take care of your mom full-time, and you have the nerve to tell me that I'm not fit to work? Just where do you get off when saying that someone else does, huh? You have got a real chip on your shoulder. Oh, but I'm not the only one that's saying these things, you know. My brother feels exactly the same way as I do. I'm sure of it. Wait a second, you mean that even Dean feels this way? That's right, even your own husband thinks that you're utterly useless. How does it feel to know that, Yolanda? I bet it hurts, doesn't it? But if you really don't believe me, then why don't you go and try asking him yourself? Maybe I will go and do just that. Thank you very much. Hey Dean, are you there? You and I have some serious talking to do. I just heard from your sister that you and her both looked down on me behind my back. I know that Britt did it, but do you really think that too? She was telling me how embarrassing it was that I was a housewife and that you were embarrassed of me too. I tried telling her that you were the one that asked me to quit my job and do this in the first place, but she just wouldn't listen.
Wait, what? Is our stupid little slave really trying to ask if I ever had any faith in her to do anything else? I don't remember giving you permission to ask me these kinds of stupid questions. But if you must know, you're taking care of my mom because there's nothing else that you're good for.
Wait, what? Dean, you can't be serious about this, right? Did you honestly forget that you were the one that asked me to do this? I mean, I can't believe that your sister was right. You're both just horrible. But if you think that you can get away with treating me like this, then you must be an even bigger idiot than Britt.
The only idiot here is you stupid moron.
I don't understand what's gotten into you, Dean. You told me that if anyone asked questions about why I had quit my job that you would explain I was doing this for your family. But instead, you just turn around and make fun of me alongside your sister? I mean, I'm literally taking care of your sick mother. Does that not mean anything to you either?
Oh please, you think you're so amazing just because you're taking care of my dear old mom? What do you want, a medal or something?
I don't believe this. I literally can't believe that you're treating me this way. It's just absurd.
Well, my sister was dead on about you. All you do is hang around the house doing nothing while you pretend like you're so busy always looking after my mom. Meanwhile, all you're really doing is using up my family's money. Money that should be left for us, their kids. But instead, you just relax all day and don't have to worry about a thing.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I had no idea that you felt this way about me whatsoever. I mean, why did you even ask me to do this in the first place?
Of course I feel this way about you. I've always felt this way about you. But I don't see why it's worth getting upset about it when I'm only telling the truth. You aren't good enough to do anything but stay at home all day. And while you're doing that, you're just using up my parents' money and taking it easy.
Oh, really? You think that I'm not working at all? You think that this is so easy? Then why don't you try it and I'll go back to my job?
Get real. You couldn't find a job no matter how hard you tried. And unlike you, I have duties and responsibilities to my company. I can't just quit to take care of some old bat. That is obviously way more suited to you since there's really nothing else that you'd be good for anyways.
You're so far up your own butt, you can probably see the sunshine out of your mouth. You literally asked me to quit my job to take care of your mom. And I've been. And every single day comes with new challenges and difficulties, and I can't believe you're treating me like this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's so hard feeding my mom applesauce for lunch or whatever it is that you really do all day. I'm sure that life is just so difficult for you being home all day. I mean, you don't even have a job. What do you actually do while the rest of us are out there in the real world working?
What is the matter with you, Dean? Are you trying to make me upset? Do you want a divorce or something? Is that what you're getting at here?
Well, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to getting one. I can tell you that much.
You're really serious about that, aren't you? Whoa, whoa.
In fact, since all you're doing is eating away at Britt and I's inheritance, I don't really think that our family even needs you anymore. You're a useless woman, and even more, useless wife.
Oh really? You think that I'm totally useless around the house? Why don't you go and ask your mom if she agrees with that?
And just why in the world do you think I would care about what that old bat has to say? I'm doing plenty for her right now with my salary. She doesn't need you, and she probably doesn't even realize the way that you've been taking advantage of her this whole time.
So you and your sister really think that I'm nothing better than a parasite on your family?
We don't think that. We know it. It's been obvious and you know it too. So quit playing dumb. You really think that you get to have the run of the house just because you nurse my mother? You're a housewife, and a useless one at that, and nothing more. And now that my sister and I are both on the same page about you, it's clear that I have no other choice at all but to divorce you.
And then if you really want to do this, let's do this then. I'll be happy to leave if it meant that I'll get rid of you and your sister.
Finally, we'll finally be free. All the years of having to support you and the months of having you lounge around the house, it's all finally going to end.
I don't even know how to start with that one. I mean, wow. You and your sister are just delusional and I can't get out of the situation fast enough. Have a nice life. Or don't. I really don't care. I've already gotten the divorce papers ready here, and I've signed them. They'll be waiting for you on the table when you get back home.
Wait, you already have the divorce papers ready to go? Well, aren't you misprepared?
That's right, but now that this is happening, it can't happen fast enough. If you think I'm a parasite, then fine. I'll happily leave from where I'm not wanted, and it's clear that you're sick of having to support me since I'm so useless. So let's just end this whole thing and be done with each other forever.
Yolanda, are you there? Please, you have to pick up the phone. This is really, really serious. I'm begging you here.
What is it? What do you want? Whatever it is, you can just text it here. Because I don't have time to call, nor do I want to hear your voice.
Please, things are going really badly here. You have to come back and help us. You're the only person we can turn to.
Can you quit freaking out in your messages and just tell me what is it that you want? I mean, you've got some nerve even coming to ask me for help after the way that you've treated me. Not only did you basically force me to quit my job to take care of your mom, but then you and your sister both were constantly putting me down for doing the thing that you asked me to do. I'm sorry, but I really just don't want to say anything or do anything to do with you ever again. Actually, I'm not sorry about that at all.
No, please, you don't understand. Ever since you left, my mom has been asking my sister and I which one of us is gonna take care of her now. Britt and I have been fighting ever since you left, and things are getting really bad here. You have to come back and help us.
Really? Is that what's happening? Well, I say it serves you two both right to have that to happen. But you were the ones who chased me out of the house, so I'm not going to come back. If you're really so upset about this though, you can always just pay for a live-in nurse to take care of your mom. Of course, I have no idea how you'll be able to afford something like that, but it is an idea. But you are out of your mind if you think that you can come back to me and ask me to go back to what I was doing, because that is simply not going to happen.
Well, the thing is that Britt tried doing the nursing for a little bit. She actually quit her job because she thought that it was going to be so easy, kind of like how you had it. But after 2 days of taking care of my mom, she had enough and was demanding that I do it instead. But I told her that there was no way I was going to do it, and that we should just look into a nursing service. But then my mom started complaining about how she only wanted someone she knew to be there taking care of her. And we don't know any nurses or people looking to do that kind of work, and people are getting so mad at each other. And my dad ended up throwing me out of the house over this. That's how bad things have gotten without you here to look after my mom.
So basically, it sounds to me like you're just paying for the mistake of throwing me out of the house. If you don't think any further ahead of what you all were doing to do once I was gone, then that is entirely on you, Dean. I mean, what's your plan for taking care of your mom if I wasn't there?
But you mean, you knew this was going to happen?
I figured that you probably put zero thought into this, and weren't thinking at all when you said that you wanted a divorce. I was wondering if you already had someone in mind who could take care of your mom. But it's clear to me now that you have no idea what you're doing. But this is what you get for acting like such an idiot. You really thought everything was just going to fall into place after you chased me out of the house? You know that I never even wanted to quit my job, but you gave me no other choice. You guilted me into doing it because you told me you had nobody else you could ask to take care of your mom. And then you divorced me and chased me out of the house, and you still haven't found anyone else?
Okay. I get it. I messed up, and I'm really sorry about that, okay? But can you please just come back? I need you here. We all need you here.
Well, I'm afraid that it's not quite simple, Dean.
What is that supposed to mean? What isn't that simple? Are you really not going to come back?
I mean that I have other things going on in my life, and I don't have time to come up and clean your messes.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. My parents told me something really strange, and I need you to come back here so we can fix all of this. My parents told me that they were going to leave everything in their will to you. Isn't that nuts? You have to come back here and tell them they're crazy.
Oh, that, yeah. I already knew all about that. Your dad reached out to me to let me know about it.
Wait, my dad already told you about all of this? Are you kidding me? So then, that means they were really serious about that. I don't believe it! How can they betray their own children like this to someone who isn't even part of the family?
I think I proved myself to be a greater part of the family to your parents in the time that I was there with your mom than you or your sister ever did.
But that still isn't fair. Why should you get what should rightfully be Britt and I's? I hate it. It doesn't make sense.
I don't know why you're asking that to me when the decision is entirely up to your dad. I didn't have anything to do with this at all.
Well, whatever. We can figure this out later. But you just need to come back here right away because there is a lot of work for you to do back home. The whole place is a mess without you.
And you think that I'm just going to come back running and clean up all your kisses for you? You can count me out.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that I'm going to ignore every single request that make of me. And you want to know why? It's because we're divorced. I'm not your wife. You're not my husband, and I don't owe you anything.
Hold on a second. You can't be serious, right? Come on, you're just being totally ridiculous. I mean, I'll even let you live with us again.
You mean that you wanted me to come back and fix all your problems, and you weren't even going to let me live there? Not that I would even want that in the first place. The answer is still no. I mean, the whole time that I was staying at home to take care of your mom, and you and your sister put me down as leech. But now you realize that without me, the whole house and your lives are falling apart. You did this to yourself, and I'm not going to help you out of this one.
Please, I'm really sorry. You're right. You're not a leech, and we need you. I realize that now.
Well, I'm glad that you do, but it's far too late for me to do anything about it for you both right now. You and I are over. So you and Britt can just keep fighting over who should be taking care of your mom.
But we can't. At this rate, this is gonna tear us apart. Please, my dad is already so mad at me. And my mom is sad too. I'm sad. How could they do this to their own son? And all because you're not here? It isn't fair.
It sounds to me like you just can't face up to the consequences of your actions, Dean.
No, it's not that at all. But even my dad said I'm useless as a son.
Well, I have to say that I strongly agree with your dad on that one.
But it isn't true. I work so hard at my job every day. I'm not useless.
Dean, I can't remember the last time that you paid for anything in the house. You've been even nothing but selfish, and your dad is right to put you down like that. You thought that I was a leech, but you've been the one expecting everyone else to do your work and pay for everything for you.
You don't really feel that way, do you? Because it isn't true and it's not fair. Please, what can I do to make you come back to us? I don't know how we're supposed to carry on at this rate.
You still haven't given him a single good reason why I should do anything for you or your family. I sacrificed so much for you, and I got nothing but insults and condescension in return. You threw me out of the house, and now the same thing is happening to you, and I say good. I don't know or care what it is that you'll think of doing next, but just leave me out of it.
But what about my inheritance? You can't just take that away from me. Hey, why aren't you responding? You can't just leave me like this. You have to help me.
After that, I heard that even Brittany was kicked out of the house and that their parents moved into a nursing home. They even invited me over to see it one day. And we were able to catch up a bit. I felt bad for leaving Dean's mom in that position, but I felt like I had already done enough. I told them both that they didn't need to give me anything and that they should save their money for the nursing home. As for Dean and Brittany, I didn't even bother to ask what they were up to because the less I know, the better. As for me, after moving out, I went to go and live with my own parents for a little bit. I explained to them what happened and they were happy to let me stay with them until I found a new job. It wasn't long after that it happened and I was able to move out. It took me some time to get used to living on my own and working full-time again, but it was the most fulfilling that I had done in months. Although it's also strange getting used to the single life, I have to say that I prefer it far more than being married to Dean.